Insane in the Membrane.
Hello and welcome to your favourite podcast, Insane in the Membrane, with me, Rich Wilson. And this week I'm joined by the brilliant James Smith from the marvellous band Yard Act.
Hello, Rich.
How are you,
having
mate?
me.
Hey, it's my pleasure, mate. It's my pleasure.
Good.
I saw you in Brighton a month or so ago.
At the Dome?
Yeah.
It was good fun, that.
Mate,
Yeah.
I tell you what, it was good to see a band having fun.
Yeah.
Even with everybody on stage was getting into it.
Yeah.
Did you just like roll off the stage at the end?
Yeah, we did the Slither. Yeah, that was that wasn't planned. By that point, it was rehearsed through the performance each night. But that was kind of like, so Gustav, did you see Gustav who opened for us?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were coming on every night to sort of do the dance with us at the end of Trenchcoat. And then sort of on about night 3 or 4, everyone climbed on me.
Right, yeah.
And then everyone slithered off like snakes. And everyone was we were in the dressing room after, and it was like, the snake thing was good, wasn't it? And it's like, yeah, so we'll do that. And then, so by the end of the tour, it was quite, we choreographed the snake slither quite well, but it was spontaneous at the start.
Nice.
Yeah, we didn't plan the snakes.
It was a nice touch.
Yeah.
Because we were all just buzzing from the gig, and then that happened.
Yeah. End of the show of a
man.
slither, yeah.
I loved it. And it was nice to see, I'm 52 now, but it was nice I had a mosh. I've got to be honest.
Nice, good.
So it was all going off in the middle, and I was with my mates and that. Craig Parkinson was there. We were
Wicked, yeah.
There was a bunch of us, and we were all dicking about. And then I kind of I was like, I've got to go and do it. Because the last band I moshed to was at Glastonbury, and it was Lost Prophets.
Right.
And the rest of the band, like top lads, and I just thought, that can't be the last band that I moshed to.
Yeah.
So this is probably going to be the last mosh that I have. So now it's Yard Act.
All right, I'll take that. We'll wear the crown. Rich's last mosh.
Yeah. Richie's last mosh. Oh, that'd be my memoirs.
Yeah, that is a good name for a book. Yeah, I'd take that. Yeah.
But it's good. It's your band. Yard Act just hit me immediately with it just spoke to me like proper.
Cool. Yeah.
I don't want to say working class, but it just felt.
Yeah.
Like the stuff you were talking about. I was like, this is
it's
brilliant.
Normal people.
Yeah.
It encompasses all of normal life, I'd say.
Yeah.
It's not. It occupies 99% of us, I'd say.
Yeah. It was straight away. I was like, this is a band I want to get on board with. It wasn't even that. It was just like, I am on board. That's it.
Right.
It just got me. Do you find it easy to talk about what's going on in your head and things that are going on in the world? And it depends what mood you're in, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I feel sort of with the social commentary, I feel less qualified to talk about that these days than I did on album 1, which is why album 2 looked inwards a lot more rather than outwards.
Yeah.
So I suppose talking about what's going on in my head is easier these days.
Yeah. There's going to be a load of that going on.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. That was quite. I hear music everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, this might make a new song. That.
Yeah.
Talking about what's going on in my head and then some squeaking doors behind it. Yeah.
That's the sound that's normally in my head.
Yeah. No, it's a good sound.
It's a great sound.
Miles
I always hear
Davis.
it if I'm walking down the street. You hear like the engine of a lorry or something like that, and you just go, there's a tune there.
Yeah, well, I've just been reading this. Do you like Wilco? Do you like Jeff Tweedy?
Yeah.
So, World Within a Song is
Right.
Jeff Tweedy's latest book.
Yeah.
And it's about songs that changed his life and the memories attached with them. And he talks about, the obvious John Cage's 433, the silence, and he relates it back to understanding that song after they played a gig somewhere in the north of Scotland, and they're in this hotel, and the fire alarm goes off at like 4 a.m, and all his senses are disorientated, and he's dragged through this old Scottish hotel to be told it was just a test. And then he goes back to bed, and his ears are ringing, the fire alarm's still going off, and then the fire alarm stops, and all of a sudden he's sat in this silence, but his senses are so wired that he can't sleep. And he says that he listens to the noise around him, and he starts to hear like frequencies in the air conditioning unit.
Wow.
And then the traffic outside, and he starts to hear harmony and dissonance between the two, and melodies start to form in his head based off just listening. And it's something that we don't do very often.
No, not
We're
at all.
always trying to put something in we're looking for something to pump into our eyes and our ears, and when you take that moment, you realise that it's always there anyway. And,
Right.
yeah.
When you hear proper silence, it's an odd one, isn't it? It's just, I remember years ago when I first started doing comedy, I was driving back with my mate, and we stopped in the middle of nowhere, and he went, come and listen to this. And I'm like, dude, it's the middle of the night. Well, we should be getting back. He's like, no. And we stopped and lay down in the road, and it was a beautiful, clear night, stars and everything. We just lay there, and there wasn't even the hum of a motorway. There was nothing.
Yeah.
And he just went, listen to that. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, it's special.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And like you say, you just, no wonder we're all spiraling. We just, like you say, cramming all these different things into our heads. But to have a minute to listen to nothing.
Yeah. It's all already there. We don't need to put anything else in. It's there.
It's just there.
Yeah.
And I find that like I say, coming to meet you today, and I've had the overload in my head going round and round and round. And I was just going, yeah, that's what it feels like. Just fucking, everything's just...
It is, yeah. It's too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm glad it was...
So I decided to add to it by doing 45 minutes of music about how there's too much, yeah.
And the irony of us doing this now, and you go, yeah, this is just us.
Yeah.
Doing
You
it
got,
again.
yeah, but you know, it's a symphony of noise nobody needs, but people do need it. Like you just got to remember that the thing. Like I was just like, we were talking about what podcasts are recently, and I've started doing a few more of them. So I really enjoy the format.
Yeah.
And the long format of just letting people talk, and I like that you can't be misquoted.
No.
Like it's there. What you've said is what you said. So, and that works both ways. It's like it means that you can't be misquoted. It also means that if you do say something, the onus is on you. So I like that. But like I like that they're just out there. I suppose like songs. It's just anything. It's like the idea that something has to like connect immediately. Like you just do it and then you leave it, and then it's not this massive noise. It exists in its own world that will connect with people as it needs
true.
to, and you never know what you're going to say or do that might just help or hinder someone in any way when they hear it. And yeah, it's just part of the conversation.
That's true, man. It's like with this. It's like every now and again someone pops up out of nowhere and just goes, "Oh, I was listening to whatever episode from way back when," and you go, "Fuck me," and they go, "It just." Like I said with Yard Acts, it just hit. Everything that was said just got me, and you're so right. To just it's out there, and it's just there for people to just find. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hadn't thought of it like that. That's
you
great,
just got to leave it, let it be.
Yeah, mate. This is why I love having these conversations. I learn something from every guest.
Yeah,
so it's not. I listen to some podcasts. I'm like, give them a minute, let them say something.
Yeah.
Because I love meeting people. I love talking to people.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in, like, your band was so different to what else was going on at the time. I'm talking like it's years ago. You're literally just starting out, really.
Yeah. No, it all happened. Yard Acts happened really fast for us. I mean, we've been doing it. We'd all been doing music for ages.
That's right. Yeah.
But it kind of took us all by surprise when all of a sudden we. The ball was rolling, and we decided to jump on and hang on for dear life. Then first 2 years were just chaos. Don't really remember them. Yeah, but it was good.
Yeah, I see what's good now. It's funny growing up reading about bands and all the stuff that they used to get up to, cars in swimming pools and all the carnage. When I was growing up, going, oh wow, rock stars, man. But now I don't know if it's because I'm older. I'm like thinking of the other way. I'm like, that poor fucker had to clear that up.
No, we've definitely never been destructive like that. But when you're within it, you have much more of an awareness for. I think, I'm glad that the mysticism of rock and roll is kind of it's it's often sort of lauded and championed, and it creates good stories, and the sort of lore of it is exciting. But the reality of it is that it is usually inherently selfish, and I'm glad that the modern world kind of is starting to take note of the fact that a show isn't made up of one ego on stage. It's made up of like 100 people, you know, plugging cables in and turning the lights on and off at the right times, and there's still room for that mysticism. There's still room for the unknown and the romanticisation of what the rock star is. I think because we all need stories, and we all, but you know, we also need a healthy dose of reality every now and then.
I think so, yeah.
To stay grounded, I think.
I think we still, because we still look at rock stars and go, you know, oh yeah, I'd love to be a rock star, and everything that goes with it.
Yeah.
You know, so there is that. Yeah, I still now go and see bands, and I'm just like, oh, that looks fucking great. Like watching you lot mucking around.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun.
Yeah, it looked good, man.
It is good.
Yeah. And it must be nice now, like you already said, like suddenly it's just got kicked on, and you know people are taking notice.
Yeah.
But because you grew up in Leeds.
Grew up in Warrington.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I went to uni in Leeds when I was 19, so I've been in Leeds for 15 years now. Yeah. It's home.
Yeah.
It's not where I grew up.
Oh, I see. Because I was in Headingley, and there's a record shop there.
Oh, Vinyl Whistle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Vinyl Whistle.
That's it, with John and...
So John's moved on, John Moss.
Has he?
Yeah, he's passed it on, but it's got... I can't remember the guy's name now, but he came and picked up a signed mannequin off us the other week. The guy who's taking it over is really lovely as well. It's a really good shop, that. But, they had like a auction to win... Oh, they had like a raffle to win... We had a load of mannequins from the Trenchcoat Museum video, and we right before we went on tour somewhere at like 7 a.m, this poor bloke had to come. It was the only time he could get it from our practice space before we went away for like 2 months. So at 7 a.m, we met this guy, and he was like, I've just come to get this mannequin. And it was like, oh, there you go. I saw him sort of drive off of it, sticking out the boot of his car. We got on the bus, but it's a good shop, that. Anyway, you were in there. Sorry.
No. See, it was just I was in there, and the guy, I can't remember his name, but he's a lovely guy. And it was just before Where's My Utopia was coming out. Yeah. And he was getting them all out of the boxes, and he was getting ready. And I think he had it on. He had something on, and I was like, is it? He went, yeah. It's coming out. Whenever, I think it was like Friday. And I'm like, fucking, yeah, all right, I'm having that. He went, you can't have it yet, I can't sell it to you yet. He says, well, it's coming. He went, they got a special Yorkshire edition as well.
Yeah, that was the colour one. Yeah, black and white. It came with yard up crayons. Yeah.
So what was it, Yorkshire? What was Yorkshire about it?
It was just sold exclusively across Yorkshire.
Really?
I believe, yeah. It was just West Yorkshire.
Oh, really? So quite specific then.
Yeah. So it was only available in, I guess it would have been like Earworm Records in York. I think Vinyl Tap in Huddersfield had it. Wawa in Wakefield. Yeah, you had to fit the criteria to get the crayons.
Because he said it, and I kind of went, oh yeah, that's fucking great, man. And then went about my dad a coffee, and he printed off something for me, and blah blah blah. And then since then I was like, Yorkshire edition. What does that mean? What does that mean? But yeah, it was that. I thought it meant like maybe you'd recorded a whole version
just in Yorkshire. Yeah, well, we could. I mean, we did record quite a lot of it in Yorkshire, so I guess we could remove all the parts that weren't recorded in Yorkshire for the purists. Have sort of 3/4 of an album. Did you pick anything up that day?
I picked up. What did I pick up? I picked up Leftism.
Ah, nice.
Yeah. What are they called? Left Field. Yeah. I picked that up, and some other bits and bobs. I picked up an EP by Serge Tankian from
System of a Down. Yeah. A recent one.
Yeah, a couple of years ago. It's got some quite sort of out there electronic kind of Serge Tankian stuff.
Yeah.
What fires you up musically? Is there anything? You kind of just open to everything.
I am. Yeah, I'd like to say I'm open to everything. I'm stuff that's as far away from what we sound like usually. I mean, I could pull if I pull something out, it's only because that's what I've had on today. I don't really have anything that I hold. I mean, I've been listening to this Wally Badarou quite a lot recently. Yeah, I think a lot of his stuff's been reissued and kind of been like sort of as The Colour of Science, I think it's called The Colour of Science. Right. I picked that up day before yesterday. Yeah, I was in South Norwood, and I was staying with a mate, and he took me to this record shop, and I picked up that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of into a lot of sort of Bill Laswell stuff at the moment, like Material and anything he's produced. Yeah, a lot of the Herbie Hancock sort of. Right. So, but these are just things that I've ladded on recently. And
I'm the same as you. Yeah.
Nail me flag to the mast, or whatever they're saying is. Colours to the mast. What is it?
Colours to the mast. I think.
No, colours to the mast.
Colours. We do this every time.
Whatever the turn of phrase is that fits appropriately. I don't. Yeah, it's. I'm kind of. It's just kind of what passes through me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then stuff like, I don't know. I just spend a lot of. I love Neil Young.
Nice.
Yeah, he's probably my go-to. Elvis Costello, anything like that, really. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I became aware of Wally Badarou way back in the 80s.
Yeah,
he was level 42.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Produced a lot of their stuff and played on it.
That's it. Yeah, and so I was that was where I was at in the 80s.
Yeah, he worked with everyone. Like, he was working with Talking Heads at one point.
Brilliant.
And just unreal. It is like, it's like sort of synth panpipe funk.
That's it, yeah.
Which is what you need in your life. Yeah.
I love a bit of panpipe funk.
Yeah. Synthetic panpipe funk. Yeah.
I just reminds me of my childhood, all that. Yeah. I listened to. I've been listening to acid folk.
Oh, nice.
Which is all right, and then flute funk.
Flute funk. Are you talking about like Wishbone Ash and stuff there? Yeah.
It's some out there stuff. Do you think Yardak would ever get involved with a bit of flute funk?
Oh, we already have. It's weird you say that. I wasn't trying to steer the conversation this way. Chris. We have Chris who plays in the live band with us.
Yeah,
and he's kind of like the fifth member of the band. He doesn't have to get out of bed for a photo shoot. It's basically, he's in the band and he's been in the band with us for a couple of years now, and he plays sax and keys live mainly, but he at the recording of this Where's My Utopia, he brought his flute along. We didn't even know he had a flute, and it ended up it's on Blackpool Illuminations, and it's on a track that didn't make the album called Disease, which might come out at some point. But we started writing the other day, and his saxophone was at the repair shop, so he said, bring me flute instead, and it's made it. It's kind of steered quite heavily, and it's quite a funky number. So yeah, flute funk is the way Yardak are going, definitely.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that then.
Yeah.
Oh man, what are the chances?
Yeah.
But because this is it's a mental health podcast,
right?
Sort of fundamentally, but not in a heavy duty way. It's kind of like people just talk about whatever, and it goes wherever. What we're learning with the podcast is that people just get something from listening to people chat. That's it.
Yeah.
And I know my generation, and especially the generation before, had real trouble talking about feelings and
absolutely.
So really, I don't know what's it like now with the younger generation such as yours. Is it more sort of, you don't even think about it now, talking about feelings?
Yeah.
It's more part of everyday stuff.
Yeah, I've worked quite hard on opening up. I think I've got a lot better at it as the stigma's kind of been lifted. Definitely in my early 20s. I'm 34 this year.
Right.
So I fall squarely under the umbrella term of millennial.
Yes.
And I think I think every generation gets progressively better at it, I'd hope. I'm not that connected to what generation are we on now?
So we're now
Gen Z. I think Gen Zers are pretty good at it, and then there's one more.
Yeah, what would be the latest one? Because we're Gen X, and then there was Gen Z.
Oh, no.
It's millennials, isn't it?
And then there's
And then it's like, what is it now? Are we on numbers now?
probably. Anyway, I think there's
Yeah.
2 generational brackets after millennials. I think the ones that fall into the one younger than me are probably, I know people in their sort of early mid-20s. They seem to me the most switched on
Yeah.
and acutely aware of their problems generation, out of more so than millennials, but I think millennials have got a cap on it more than they did so. And the generation before that, I don't really know many young teens, and I don't know how they're coping with the world they've been given. But from my own perspective, I think yeah, like I have a good support network. The band,
Yeah.
in this band, we are good at talking to each other, and we weren't always, and we worked really hard on it.
Right.
And I'm really grateful for that. And I'm really grateful that we do, if there's an issue, we sort of address it, and we support each other.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the tide is turning, I think.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're speaking of your generation, Rich, like obviously you've made a podcast on it, so you're talking about it. How hard was it for you to get there? Did you bottle stuff up? And
So I didn't realise how bottled up I was
yeah,
until, I've said this before, until I had counselling.
yeah, right.
And then suddenly I'm in a green room with other comics, and they're like, "How are you?" And I genuinely told them,
Yeah.
rather than like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine." I went, "Actually, I've had some counselling, and
Yeah.
I was a bit fucked. I didn't realise how fucked I was."
Yeah.
So, but even now, my dad's opening up, and he's nearly 80.
Right,
And
that's great.
So it's happening.
Yeah.
We can't expect. They went through so much more than we ever did.
Yeah.
But now we're in the middle of this world where it's just seems like it's all in turmoil.
Yeah.
And how you navigate that as a young person now.
Yeah. Bottling it up
Yeah.
isn't the answer.
No,
Nah.
man. It just, and it must be difficult. Well, like you said, you've already sussed it out with the band. Really, like you are open and you do talk to each other. If you've got different ideas of what you want the band to sound like,
Yeah.
or direction you want it to go,
Yeah.
like someone might not be into flute funk,
Yeah.
and someone else might want to bring in, I don't know, a harp.
Yeah. We
So-
have there's a little sign on the door of the studio that says, "Do not never bottle up your disdain for flute funk." and so everyone knows that they can voice the disapproval of the increasingly annoying path we're going down. Yeah. No, we do. Yeah, no, we're good. But I think the key with a band is to realise that if the ecosystem of the band is functioning and every member is operating to their best of their ability, then it's fragile, but it's exciting. But what you know is that everyone is passionate about it. So what you have to go in completely willing to argue against somebody else's opinion if you don't like it, but respecting that they fully believe in it.
Yeah.
Because if they don't, and they want to settle for something they're not happy with because they're not invested, then that's when you have an issue. But we don't have that issue because everyone's fully engaged. So you have to be sensitive to the fact that everyone's bringing a passion and a vulnerability to what they're doing, but you also have to be open that everyone is entitled to not like what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
And so that's the compromise. And I think that's where you spend more energy than making music, is making sure that everyone is satisfied with the end. And you have to concede sometimes. Like you lose creative battles,
Right.
And you sacrifice creative battles. Some things that it's just constant navigation of negotiation. As long as you're all on the same page that you care deeply about what you're making,
as long as
and
the
that's the
fundamentals
united
are
front. That's how you get through it. Is it's fun.
Have you ever come to the band with an idea and you're like, I'm fully on board with this, I know it can work, and then once you've gone through it and the band have gone, nah, and then later on you kind of go, actually, yeah, you were right.
Oh, all
I
the
don't know
time.
where I was going
All the
with that.
time. Well, me and Ryan, like, who started the band with us, who plays bass. Like, and now it's the four of us and kind of the five of us with Chris. Chris is kind of involved in the writing process as well now, but like it's me, Sam, Ryan and Jay. And Sam and Ryan weren't really involved in album one, but the four of us made album two equally together. But the creative kind of helm is always me and Ryan. That's kind of everyone, like, we're the opposing factions, and it we argue constantly because we trust each other to be able to. And Ryan is completely instinctive,
Right.
and I'm far more methodical. I'm head and he's heart, and we're both right some of the time, and it's knowing when the other one's right. And I've definitely like come away like that's not, and he's gone, you're overthinking. Like he undercooks it, I overcook it, and so we have to like find the middle ground, and that's the joy of it. But like we both know that we have this really delicate synergy that you have to just constantly sort of maintain and preen and just sort of understand. But yeah, no, I've had plenty of ideas vetoed, and I've gone in way too hard with grand visions. The other thing is, and this is the right way, is that you can explain something all day. If someone's ears don't like it, it doesn't matter. You shouldn't have to provide context. It's a visceral reaction.
Yeah.
So that's what I find. I'm forever sort of like, I'm compelled by what songwriting is and what recording music is, and how what is and isn't connecting with people. Because I learned with this band that I had no idea that Fixer Upper was gonna change my life. It gave me a career in something I'd wanted to do for 15 plus years.
It's an incredible
and I wasn't
song,
trying.
yeah.
I wasn't, and that's the demo vocal. And there's loads of there's like slurred words where, because I was like just recording it in the studio. I was recording it in Ryan's print. Ryan was a screen printer, and I used to go around after I'd finished work, and he'd record demos in the side room on his setup in there, and then leave them for me. And I'd record vocals while he finished work and sprayed down all the screens and washed all the paint off them, and he'd shout, "That's good," or "That's shit," because I didn't know, and I didn't know, like, we were just shooting in the dark, like, and there was no intent, there was no ambition at that point. And so that song was, we had to find a B-side for the first single, Trapper's Pelts, during lockdown.
Right.
We couldn't go in a studio and record anything, so we just got that mixed, and that was a demo.
It was a demo as a B-side.
And it changed my life. Like, I can't underestimate the significance of that. So the key is to just not plan too much, because you can't. If you think it's going to do something, it won't, and you'll be disappointed.
Yeah, I've had that so many times. Yeah.
You've got to remove that element, and you've got to do it in the studio as well, because if you start trying to, if you have a preconception of what you are and who you are, you will create a lesser work.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
Fear of failure is the bullet in the skull of creative.
Oh mate, every single time. It's such a battle that I fight it, and I see it in others.
Yeah.
Like that, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Or it's a great idea, but I'll do something with it later.
Yeah.
But I think now I'm older, I think suddenly I'm suddenly like, there won't be a later. You got to do it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's and I say, and so the other thing is, like, I mean, with when you're performing and you take, I mean, comedy's different because it's so in the moment.
Yeah.
Like, and obviously I guess comedy's one of the, you're road testing. That first time you do a joke.
Yeah, mate.
The leap, right?
It's awful.
Yeah.
And you never know when to put a new bit in.
Yeah,
you just kind of just got to do it. And I mean, I've been doing it long enough now where I can go, I just thought that had something anyway. And then go back to the tried and tested. and you can do it that night.
Yeah.
You can go, oh, that's a nice idea. I'll do that tonight. Whereas with you, you've kind of got to,
You finesse before the audience hears it
yeah,
a lot of the time, which probably didn't used to be the case before home recording became so easy.
true.
Because
yeah.
you'd rehearse a song, especially from like a band perspective, you'd rehearse a song, play it live, and then it would slowly evolve sort of based on audience reactions, which is what jokes do, right?
Yeah.
So you must drop a joke, see the components that work, finesse it, drop it again the following week.
That's
Yeah,
exactly it. Yeah, yeah.
but what you do now in the studio is, when I say the studio, I mean Jay's attic.
Yeah,
like,
right.
We write a lot of music in Jay's attic. He's got a good setup up there. Like, you start finessing it before anyone else has heard it.
Yeah.
And you think it's a clearer vision of what you want, and sometimes it is, but the counterpoint to that is that it might be you're actually homogenizing it and making it more, you're stripping personality away from it every time.
Yeah, right.
That idea that what comes out first is the most natural thing, that gets, it's like people get demoitis and they can't get back to what you first had, but you can't live with the fact that it's slightly out of time and out of tune. But that in itself is the expression.
Yeah.
I'm forever trying to get back to that now. And I suppose, I don't know. Yeah, 'cause stand-up comedy is that one where you take that leap,
Yeah.
but then you learn how it works, and then it does get weird. That the scaffolding's put up, and you sort of restructure the joke, and
Yeah.
don't know. And then that spreads into the wider performance. If you're doing callbacks and that. It's
Oh,
really-
it does. It goes in all manner of directions, and it's funny, like you mentioned about demoitis, and you'll have that moment where you just catch something,
yeah,
and then you go, oh, and then you try, like you say, try to get back to that. It's like, if I don't think about it, if I go to a gig and I go, tonight I'm not thinking about it, I'm just going to get up there and I'm just going to chat.
yeah.
Because I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I'm having it. And I've come off and go, fuck, I didn't even know what I said.
Yeah.
I've just smashed it.
Absolutely.
And it's the same as that. You kind of, you can think about it, think about the components and stuff and
Yeah,
overthink it. But then there's other nights where you just fucking hit it. And
absolutely.
you don't know why.
Yeah,
It's an odd one,
yeah.
isn't it? It's
Playing
a
it
strange
safe
one.
can be boring sometimes.
Yeah.
It can be passable, but it won't be the best.
Yeah.
Taking them risks is important, I think.
I was with a comic the other day, Ingrid Darley, and she said this brilliant thing to me. We're in the green room in Brighton, and she'd gone up and she'd got this whole bit that she'd done in front of her son in the kitchen, talking about a toasted cheese sandwich, and she had a cheese slice in her bra,
Right.
and she had toast wedged up in her between
Yeah,
her
yeah.
thighs, and did this whole bit right at the end of her set, and the audience they laughed at the cheese bit, and then she's walking up and down with this toast, and then everyone's going, all right, yeah. And she sort of left the stage. And then I was going, I think that's so brave that you did that. And she goes, Rich, sometimes you just got to be amongst the waves. That's where the interesting stuff is.
Yeah.
Yeah, be amongst the waves.
Yeah. You've got, there's that cosmic space in between rational thought and
Yeah.
an absolute what hasn't been done before.
Yeah.
Yeah, It's funny. You've got to delve into them waters a little bit, I think.
And I think with the song like Fixer Upper, it's such an unusual song. Sorry, I've got your mic stands. We should have
It's all right.
Sorry, man.
It's good.
Good for the. We had with Fixer Upper, it's almost more spoken word,
Yeah,
and it's one of those songs. And I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, but it's one of those sign of a good songwriter is when they can tell us a whole story
yeah,
in 2.5 to 3 minutes.
yeah,
Like Paul McCartney, John Lennon, and
Yeah.
Guy Garvey does it brilliantly.
yeah.
And Fixer Upper, you tell so much about that character in that
Yeah.
short space of time.
Right.
Is that just something? I mean, is that something that's just come to you, or I can't explain it, what I mean, but that being able to, you told a whole story about that. We all knew
Yeah,
what
yeah.
Graham was about
Yeah,
in
yeah.
that short space of time.
Well, yeah, no,
Incredible.
yeah. I mean, that came unconsciously. I definitely that, and the Graham part came because it rhymed with Payham.
Right.
So that he didn't have a name. I didn't know who this character was. And it was funny that rhyme connected everything and created this whole thing. But when I was writing it, even when I wrote like the first line, it was like hello there, because I thought it was really funny to start a song with hello. Like, you know, and there's a few, you know, Lionel did it and Adele
Beloved
did it.
did it. I think I didn't start a song. It was called that, wasn't it? But
I was listening to that Lee Scratch Perry tune the other day, you know, having a party.
yeah,
You know that?
yeah.
And it started like, hello, this is a skeleton from outer space. I'm having a party. And it was like, that's what you like. You're aiming for something that, what the fuck? Like, it's like, that's an incredible opening line.
Yeah.
You're aiming for that. What's that? What's that line that we'll get? And then I was listening to this podcast called One Song. I don't know if you ever listened to any of them. It's like an American one where they just delve into the stems. They get the stems for a certain song and they talk all about the history of it. And they were doing one for Miss Jackson by Outkast.
Right.
And the opening to that is like, this one goes out to all the babies' mamas, babies' mamas, mamas, babies' mamas, mamas, mamas. And it's like, you've got like a couple of seconds to get a listener's ear.
Yeah.
Like, what can you say that is gonna, like, you go in. And so like that, I mean, that was again, I don't think I was thinking about it at the time, but I think with Fixer Upper, it's like I knew that it was going to come straight in.
Yeah.
And it was like engaging someone in a conversation that they didn't have a voice in. And I think from the back of that kind of summed up who and what Graham was. And then his name came later, but I definitely wasn't going, I'm going to write a character study about this, new money dickhead.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't, that's not what I was doing when I wrote it. It was all falling out, and you can't think about it. Because on the second album, I got a bit bogged down in getting the praise for writing these character things. And I wrote a few, and there's a few songs that didn't make the record that technically were better.
Right.
Like, technically, they were better constructed vignettes of small town characters.
Yeah.
Like, I got better at it.
Right.
And I say that, personally, I think I had. It didn't make for a good song.
Oh, really?
And they didn't make the record. And I was like, I'd woven into a 3-minute story an entire scenario about a roadie for U2 called Mr. Steadyhands and his son Bono.
Right.
And it was one of the, like, I'm saying this like, it was one of the cleverest things I've done. It didn't make for a good song at all.
That's interesting, yeah.
And I had to give up on the character stuff because if you become a parody of yourself, you lose all sense of momentum. And I didn't want that. And so, we had to shake it up. And that's why I ended up writing more and more about myself this time round. I think once you get praise for something, you should stop doing it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
In all walks of life.
Yeah. Because it's that chasing that initial high, isn't it?
Yeah, it changes momentum. Always. Yeah.
That's really interesting. Of course. Do you find it easier to talk about yourself through the medium of songwriting rather than just being able to just talk in like just to your mates and that? You can get a lot more out in a song rather than you just be sat chatting.
Yeah, I think songwriting is cathartic for me, and I think it has. I think without it as a constant companion since my teen years, I probably wouldn't have coped as well as I have in life in general. And if I don't write a song after about a week, I start getting like really agitated and caught up in my own head and a bit like sort of lying in a cage kind of vibes. Like I get really stressed if I can't express it, and that doesn't come from talking, because I think a lot of the time I can't articulate rationally what I'm thinking. It has to come out in stupid words set to drum beats and bass lines. Like, it has to come out in like A lot of the time, I don't understand what the songs are about until after, and months after, and I start to see that like your subconscious is telling you way more.
Yeah.
If you can connect with your subconscious, you're going to learn a lot more about yourself, but you can't talk to it directly, so you have to let it come out in different ways. And for me, it's songwriting.
Yeah.
But you'll probably find this with jokes. Like
Same,
your jokes will be about something else. They're not really about rubbing two pieces of toast between your thighs. Like, you know, if you want to go Freudian analysis on what that really means, I don't know.
Well, I had this, I've got this whole bit about, it started talking about everybody being annoyed about gender neutral toilets. And it started off about the argument about that. And then after about a year, it just became a comment on the fact that there's a lot of sort of straight men that seem to be the issue when it comes to like attacking people, you know, and it so that evolved from that, and I didn't know that's what I was doing. I was just adding bits to it, as we said earlier, and then suddenly I was saying one night, and I went, because that's the problem really, and like pointed the finger at myself, I'm the problem.
Right,
the straight white dude is the issue, not the trans people, and it just became a thing. And now people message me and go, mate, that's so brave to talk about that stuff. And you go, I didn't even know that's what I was doing.
Yeah, right, okay. Yeah.
It just sort of tumbled out of my head. Yeah,
that's it. I think we process stuff when we don't talk about it directly.
I think so.
You know, That's important. Yeah.
But mate, I tell you, I could talk to you all day. I think it's just I'm just aware of the time. I don't want to keep you.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep, I know you got shit to do.
Yeah. Well,
man.
You know,
so what are you up to today? You got a lot of press stuff.
Couple more press bits, and then going to catch up with a couple of the team I've not seen for a while, which is nice. And then back to Leeds tonight.
Yeah. I've got a few pals from Leeds.
Yeah, what were you doing in Headingley?
Well, so I gig everywhere. So there's a couple of gigs up near there.
Was the original Oak?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I've been to a few there. I saw Josie Long there a long time ago.
Mate, Josie's from. She's from my hometown.
Cool.
So we grew up together.
Did you live in Brighton?
So I live in Brighton now. My missus is from there. But I grew up in a place called Orpington, which is near Bromley.
Right.
So Josie was from there. David Bowie was born in Bromley.
Right, nice.
Susie Sue. It's got quite a rich heritage. Billy Idol.
Banging.
Yeah, the Bromley contingent.
Nice.
So that's where I'm from. And I don't know, music's just in me. I was a drummer for a bit, but not very good. But I love music. And so when I get a chance to talk to people about it, I could just chat all day.
Yeah.
I just love it, mate. It's been a real pleasure to talk to you, James. Thank you,
Cheers, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's been great.
It, yeah.
What's happening next for the band? You back on tour?
Off to America a week tomorrow.
Nice. You looking forward to it?
Yeah. It's a strange and fascinating place.
It is, isn't it?
It's rogue, man. I like... The first time I went out there, first time we played out there, I was kind of like excited by all the shiny crisp packets.
Yeah.
And when we went back, I was like, the sheen wore off and the sort of what's going on in the country. You start to peel back and, you know, it's foreshadowing where this country's going, I think.
Really?
Yeah, but amongst the many sort of issues that country has, it's emblematic of late capitalism. They're just a bit further ahead than we are, but like you can see the people on the streets, you can see the rise in mental health issues and the fact there's no help, less help even here than there is for people out there unless you've got the money, you know. And that's the way this country's going. So if people could walk around San Francisco for an afternoon, they would see that we're probably not on the right path with the choices our country's making. But it's also an amazing place, and it's also a fucking playground. Like, if you've got money, you can have a fucking good time. And it's, you know, there's a lot that's, I don't know, and also it's a beautiful place. Like, it's huge.
It's vast, isn't it?
You do that West Coast drive through the desert, through the forest, with the redwoods are incredible. Like, you know, you're looking out over the Pacific Ocean. You're like, am I going to see a whale today? Like, you stop, you see like elk and walking across the road. you're not going to see a bear, but you are like, I might see a bear. Like it's a fascinating place.
Yeah.
And it's conflicted within itself, and because of that, I love it. And you know, we've got a good fan base out there. That the crowds are always great. I love
Do they
it.
find it? Because I remember when I've gigged out there, the first time I went, and the MC came up to me afterwards, and he just said, "Oh, I got a bit of some of that." He goes, "But it was listening to you was like listening to a broken cell phone conversation."
Right, yeah.
Some of the words I didn't quite get.
Yeah.
Do you find that? Are they quite on board with?
I think there's a lot of Anglophiles out there, so I think a lot of the fan base that we've got is like, we're not big out there. We play sort of 500 to 1,000 cap rooms at the moment, but I think because they're invested in British pop music, I think they've been raised on, you know, on Ray Davies and Jarvis Cocker and whoever, and like they get that it's they've come to see that thing that British pop music does differently for the most part to American pop music, and for that reason they're coming and they're kind of aware of it. I think that's why it probably won't tip over into the mainstream for us over there. And that's fine. I get to go on a holiday to a weird place I have a love-hate relationship with twice a year. It's wicked.
But it's like you say, there is a lot of shit in the world, and we've talked about it briefly. But it is important to also be able to kind of look at the great stuff, like you've just said. Like you might see a bear and still knowing that there is magic out there.
Absolutely.
If you look for it.
Yeah. And the crassness of it's exciting sometimes as well, you know. Sometimes you do just want that.
Sometimes
comedically large, you know, half a cow to come out on a plate on the back of a pickup truck. It's fascinating.
Yeah. I remember when I first went, and I just said I'll have the pot pie, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And it came out. It was like a family size, and I'm like, I was with my missus at the time. I'm like, oh yeah, this looks all right. And then hers came out, and you're like, oh shit, we got one each.
Yeah. No,
like a massive Fray Bentos.
No, it's funny. The biggest Fray. Come see the world's biggest Fray Bentos in, you know, Montana, Missoula, Montana. Yeah.
Well, this has been great, James. Thanks so much, mate. Good luck in America.
Thanks so much.
I'm a huge fan. Nice one, man.
Nice one, man.
Thank you. This has been Insane in the Membrane. I've been Rich Wilson. This has been James Smith. We'll see you next time.